Hold up. Park it. Kick back, spark it. Welcome to the spot where money talks honest. Yeah. This is Gosh Talk with Bill Haase. Real life money in your front seat. From the paycheck to the profit. Turn that I don't know to I got this. Gosh Talk with Bill Haase. Blueprint stacked on the workbench. From the hustle to the harvest. Learning what they never really taught us. So if you're tired of the fine print winning, slide a chair in, that's a new beginning. We keep it straight, keep it smart, keep it classy. You're tuned in now, Gosh Talk with Bill Haase.
Hi, I'm Bill Haase, owner of Money Mindset Media LLC. I'm also the best-selling author of Our Mindset on Money. It's easy to control, so why don't we? Today I'm here to introduce you to a new podcast show I'm bringing about called Garage Talks with Bill Haase. I have a monthly report that I send out of the same name, Garage Talk with Bill Haase. You can sign up for it at moneymindsetmedia.com. That's moneymindsetmedia, all one word, .com. Join me in this new podcast. I'm coming off of a 4-year radio show, and I'm switching over to this wonderful new outlet. So I hope you can join me. We're going to discuss things like taking control of your money, and one of the ways you can do that is through a budget. I know nobody likes to do budgets, but there's 3 basic aspects to finances, and we'll discuss what those 3 things are. We'll talk about setting financial goals. It's one thing very, very few people do. We talk about retirement planning. We can talk about short-term planning. Maybe you want to buy a car, or you're looking to save to buy a house, things of that nature. So setting goals is important because it gives you a path. And if you ever get off that path, you can look back at your goals and you can get back on that path and get to where you want to be. We'll talk about our spending urges and how we are separated from our money. I'll have guests on talking about understanding debt. And, we have these buy now, pay later loans, or we have these cash apps where we can borrow money instantly. And the interesting part is if you don't have the money you need to borrow it like that, odds are it's just going to get you deeper into trouble. But we'll discuss how those work and how it can affect you positively and negatively. We'll go into understanding credit scores. That's something very, very important, and how to build credit. Credit scores we look at all the time, but you really need to know what those mean because, quite honestly, they don't mean much. A little bit. But again, I'll bring guests on. I have a friend of mine who's a credit genius, and we'll discuss things like that. I talk about investing. I come from 40 years in the financial world, and I spent 20 of them in the trading pits of Chicago. I kind of understand investing. I've spent many, many years on Main Street trying to help financial folks understand, retirement strategies and investing and things of that nature, and I get into it in my book as well. We don't tell you what to do. We don't tell you where to go. We just tell you the different ideas and the different ways that can get you to where you want to be. Which is a tough question, right? Where do you want to be when you retire? Well, we'll tackle that as well because it's important. And then you can, again, setting goals. So I also talk about, this is about mindset. So this isn't about what to do with your money. It's about how to take control financially. So, money creates a lot of stress in our lives. It creates problems with the relationships, productivity, our health situations. It harms us in many, many ways, and yet very few people learn how to take that control back. And it's because we're never taught it, right? We aren't taught this in schools. We aren't taught this in our homes, and spouses. One thing I learned is most spouses never talk about money. And if they're not talking about money, they're not teaching their kids. We send our kids off to school. They get through college, they get out in the real world, bam, life really hits you hard. You've got student debt, you may have trouble finding a job or finding a job that pays very well, and so you're already off to a tough start. But I can help you with that. And we'll bring people on that'll help discuss those kinds of things. We'll talk about things like what they don't tell you. The marketing world, I discuss that, and I'll bring folks on. And how that affects our lives, that affects our spending habits. Very, very important thing to learn about. What is your spending habit? What triggers you to spend money? We go to a store and you have no money and everything looks great. 2 weeks later, you go back to that same store, you're flush with cash, and nothing seems to look all that good anymore. Let that be a lesson. Impulsive buying is really not the answer, right? That's what takes away our incidental money that we have left over after paying all our bills, and we can do with whatever we want. And interestingly, very few of us invest it or save it. Two of the best things you could be doing right now. But, and in the end, we'll talk about things like, did I win? You'll never know that answer, honestly, until you get pretty old. But you know what? You can win a little bit each day, each week, each month, each year, if you put just a little time and effort into it. And that's a challenge, because where do you go to learn that? You can come to my podcast, Garage Talk with Bill Haase. You'll learn a lot. You'll learn that how money affects you that you didn't even know existed. Interest rates, one of the biggest things that affects your money. Cost of living increases. $100 this year may only be worth $97 next year. And that's your buying power getting reduced without you even knowing it. Everybody has a comment they like to say, well, all I need is to make more money. Not always true. And I would say that's not true at all. But for most, it's not true, because you need to learn how money controls you, get that control back, so that it's not more money that you need, because all you're going to do is spend it. And you're going to be in the same place living paycheck to paycheck like 78% of the people in this country do. It doesn't matter. You can go from making $70,000 to $100,000 a year. You'll learn to spend $100,000 and you'll still be living paycheck to paycheck. It's because we like to buy things. And why do we do that? Well, a lot of it has to do with status. We like to be perceived as being wealthier than we truly are, or smarter than we truly are, by the clothes we wear, the car we drive, the homes we live in, the neighborhoods, the bling that we wear, all kinds of things. Sneakers and shoes and purses and all that stuff that takes a lot of our money away but makes us look good. Well, we don't really need that, do we? If you're self-confident, you love what you're doing, you're good at what you're doing, that's the most important thing, right? But many of us aren't doing what we love to do. Many of us are just living paycheck to paycheck because we're just there to collect the check. Well, you got to ask yourself, is that really healthy? Is that really good for you? Because you'll get to the end of your career and you'll retire and you'll say, what did I accomplish? One of my favorite lines is, I like to ask people, do you live your life with intent or by default? Living with intention is incredibly exhilarating. Living by default means we are giving up our ability to take control of that situation. Most of us live financially by default because we don't know any better. And if you live by default, you have no choice. I can't imagine what life would be like if I didn't have choices. The good Lord gave us free will, and we should use it. So I always say, live your life with intent. Now, I know we can't live every aspect of our life with intent, but we can pick the things we want to live with intentionally. And finance better be one of them, because it's the number one thing on your mind every single day. You wake up thinking about it, you go to bed thinking about it, and all the time in between. And why is that? Because it's never enough? Maybe it is. You just have to learn how to use what you have. So that's what this show will dig into. We'll go much deeper into each and every subject. We'll take things out of the book. We'll take things out of my monthly reports. We'll take things out of my 40 years in finance and understanding how our mindset is, because that's really the most important part. It's your mindset. If we can change that, and trust me, it's not hard to do. It really isn't. I was on a podcast once when I said that. I said, it's easy to control, so why don't we? And the person interviewing me just said, what? How is that possible? I said, it really is. This was before I even had a concept of writing a book, of which I never thought I would. But here we are, book, report, and now this wonderful new podcast that I hope you'll enjoy, you'll follow, you'll learn from it, you'll grow from it, you'll have a better life, more productive, better relationships, better health. I want to try and bring all these things to you. So I hope you enjoy it. I look forward to hearing from you. And don't forget, Garage Talks with Bill Haase all started right here in my own garage. In fact, the cover of this story is a picture of my garage. So just sit out there with friends and we talk about different financial things. But it moved into this podcast, so please join us. I appreciate you. Thank you.